Hey, beautiful souls. Today is 2/2/2022. There's a whole lot of twos. I'm not a numerologist, and yet I love looking just at the energies that numbers have. And two reminds me of, the dance of duality, of polarity, of opposites. And it's such a fun experience, although it can also contain within it the opposite experience of a lot of push against and fight energy. So I wanted to chat today about a duality that I find myself dancing with, and also a lot of my clients and also the people in my coaching certification program as they build their business experience this particular dance of duality. It is the dance between wanting to be in creative flow and just go where the wind takes you and do what you feel like doing and just having that full flow of being in the moment, and also needing structure, routine, systems, stability. How do we balance those two things? It's easier for some people than for others. Let me share with you that moving from fighting those two energies into a dance where they are supporting each other, working with each other, instead of basically trying to overcome the other with their level of self-importance, has changed my life. It's changed my business. It changed my ability to be relaxed and stable in my body and in my beingness. So I love flow. I was a literal flow artist for many years. Flow state is my happy place. Being in flow with what is really, it feels better than almost anything. And I first experienced it when I was learning how to hoop dance. Maybe that wasn't the first time, but that was the most vivid, where people were putting a word to it. And what that took was practicing enough to have the muscle memory to be able to just dance with the music and with my hoop, with my prop, and just move without thinking. And when I'm looking back on it, I also could do that when I was doing the dishes. You get into flow state when you're driving. You get into flow state when you're doing something that you know how to do, and your conscious mind doesn't need to be doing it with you, right? Flow state feels amazing. It's this state of perfect presence, right? It's mind, body, soul, all in unison in that present moment. It's like a meditation. There are no problems in flow state. There are sometimes challenges, but in the challenge, you have this opportunity to just move with it instead of fight against it. I love that feeling. Let me know in the comments if you're watching, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've been in that flow state, and if you have a goal as well to live in that flow state, to be able to move in that way where instead of feeling like you're thinking every step, you're just being danced by the music. You're just moving with the energy of life instead of fighting with it. I adore it. I adore that sensation. And also, I crave, as most humans do, stability and feeling rooted and grounded and being able to know that I'm not going to be swept away with the current of what is, and I'm able to stand in my own power and have the capacity to hold everything that's coming by. That energetically feels so different than flow state, and yet they're so complementary. But the things that typically create that rootedness, that anchoredness, that stability and groundedness in us oftentimes feel like they're diametrically opposed to being in flow. They are routines, they are practices, they are systems and structures and schedules, and being in spaces that have the containment for us. They are not needing to be in opposition. These two different experiences, these two different seemingly opposite polarities, structure and flow. When we move with the energies, we can actually utilize the structures to create the stable foundation and the containment for the flow to go through it, Just like imagine a riverbank or a river, it has banks. The banks are the structure that is keeping the river from just like spilling out like jello everywhere. So within the structure, there is the flow, right? That is a place of happiness for me when I can be basically like a river and have that stability and structure that is holding me, and then I can like flow and dance and be in my creative expression, in my business and in my life and in my way of interacting with the world, but feeling held by it. Now, some might equate this to divine masculine and divine feminine energy as well. Now, we're not saying that it is male and female, but rather the dualities of these two, not opposing, but again, dancing with each other forces. The divine masculine is often perceived as the structure that can hold the divine feminine beingness, right? The structure is the doing and the flow is the being, no matter how you conceive it. These two energies work with us and for us. And yet, let me tell you, we oppose them vehemently. We do it as kids and we try to like, get away with not going to bed on a particular time, right? Just like when we're teenagers, we rebel against them. We're like, I want to do what I want, even as adults, right? And yet, for most of us, having, we could just only speak from myself and from people that I've spoken to, by the way, you might be totally different. Having a regular wake time and a regular bedtime, when possible, allows me to be at my best. It allows me to feel completely able to show up as me without being drained, without having that energy. Do I resist it at times because I might be like, revenge scrolling because I didn't get enough me time during the day? Of course I do. And also, when I lean in to the structures and rhythms and systems that can support me, I'm able to actually flow and be at my best in this really amazing way. It's kind of like it takes a bit more work to set up those structures, to set up those systems, to set up the routines and the schedules and the things that can hold us. But I know for my household and for me personally, taking the time to set out a meal plan and at least some ideas and like grocery shop ahead of time and maybe even do some meal prep just allows the rest of the week to flow, and we're not going like, oh my God, what's for dinner? What do we have to do? And going in that like rush. No, it's so relaxing to be able to look and go, well, we, with some flow in it, because we don't want to be too strict about it. Oh, we could make this, or this today. We let that kind of thing work for us in my house instead of going, Tuesday must be pasta and Wednesday must be that, because that doesn't feel good to me. It might feel good to someone else, having that more rigid structure. I like mine to be permeable. I like to have systems and structures that can hold my desire for flow and flexibility, instead of just having empty space where things are flowing all over and they can feel very unsupported. It's the same in business. I love to show up when I want to show up. I love to work on what I want to work on when I feel inspired to work on it. And also, creating systems and structures to support me have allowed me to get so much more done. So I'm not just like spinning my wheels and floating and dancing in fun, right? In that space that can sometimes get too all over the place because there's no containment. Something as systematic as having a schedule, outline of how I'm going to spend my week, spending a little bit of time planning it, and then like outlining, okay, these are all the items that I have to do, and there are certain times that I have to do certain things, and plugging those things into spaces while leaving enough room for the flexibility of how I want to feel has supported me in being able to create, like a 6-figure business and being able to hold space for lots of people. It is the one thing that I probably paid the most money in terms of my education and training for, because it wasn't in my wheelhouse to be really organized. I don't love organization, but being organized enough to know that I would be doing all of the things that I needed to do and making sure that I had time and space to get them done, then allowed me to have ample time left over to be in the flow, to be in the creativity. And it also allowed me to make enough money to hire people to help me with the pieces that I don't feel in flow with, that I don't love, that they are better at. So it allows me to have the zone of genius that I love. For anyone who is a coach, a healer, an entrepreneur, this is the one thing that many people resist: batching content for posts and things like that on social media, for emails, for blogs. I did not like the idea. I rejected the whole premise at first when I first began, because I was like, I can't write when I'm not feeling inspired to write. That's a limiting belief, number one. I was like, I just want to be in flow and do it whenever. And then I had somebody that I was paying a lot of money to teach me how to say this and do this stuff, go, give it a try. Try it out. Here's what we do. I tried their way, and I hated it at first. And then I tweaked it a little bit, and I made it my own. And I found ways of creating structure for content creation. I picked a specific day. I picked a specific time, and I picked a template that I could do. And then I let it be what worked for me. I started like putting ideas in it throughout the week. So when I sat down to look and create some posts for the week, I would already know what I was focusing on. I'd already had like 3 or 4 good ideas last week that I could just like flesh out. I already had the goals. I already had what I needed. And by creating that space and that structure, after a little bit, I actually started to prime my brain to know that when I sat down at my desk at this particular time of day, at this day of the week, it was time to make content. And I would just be able to open up energetically and be like, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Happens so quickly now. So I had to practice to be able to fit my flow into the structure and let myself feel supported from it in a way that wouldn't like crush my creativity, but actually enhanced it. The systems, the structures can be there for us. They don't have to cramp your style, right? They can support your flow. They can support your beingness. Just like if you were wanting to tap more into flow state, say as a dancer, as a runner, as a performing artist, what you would need to do would be to practice. When you're out of practice, it's harder to drop into that state, right? All of these structures, all of these systems, all of these practices, all of these routines, we can make work for us. So I want to ask you, where in your life, or if you're an entrepreneur in your business, could you actually lean in and see where some structure, some stability, some routine, some schedules could support you so that you could feel free to be you, to express, to be in your beingness, to even have more freaking time outside of, the schedules to just be you, do your thing. So let me know in the comments what you've had experienced in that duality, dancing between the desire to have the flow and the drive to create something, right? And to have it work for you. This is the element of earth working very much with the elements of water and air, right? We can have flow with air, we can have flow with water. Flowing feelings, flowing thoughts, all of that. And earth creates the container, the structure, the physicality. And, I have a lot of earth and fire in my chart. And that's worked out really well for me because I'm able to take the aligned action, that fire, and have a container for it, put it into systems and structures as well. So I don't just burn out of control and go out and do all of the things, which is my, I would say my go-to when I was younger. I would just try to do all the things. And then I would be like, I have no energy to do all the things. I don't have the time to do all the things. How do I fit all of the things in here? So creating the structures, creating the stability of what is going where, even gave me the perspective to be able to say, okay, what actions do I have time for? What can I say yes to? What can I say I don't have, that's not a right now thing, and put it in the parking lot in terms of ideas, in terms of creations, in terms of programs that I want to launch, in terms of, content I want to create. We do have a limited resource of time on this planet, in this now, in our physical experience. So when we allow ourselves to create the systems and structures to support our beingness, we actually give ourselves more time, because we're spending less time going I don't know what to do. I don't know what's in this now. It organizes for us the opportunity to be our best selves. So again, if you are struggling with getting enough done, if you are struggling with overwhelm, if you're struggling with feeling like there's not enough time, take a moment and actually ask yourself, do I have the systems and structures in place to actually support me? Do I have a morning routine? Do I have an evening routine? Do I have do I even write things down, right? The morning routine, the structure to start my day gets to be different every day, because I don't like it to be constricting me. But at this point now, I go, okay, what do I need to be successful in my day? I need to move my body. I need to spend a little bit of time getting the energy flowing, maybe take some breaths, maybe meditate, maybe do something for myself, whether that looks like reading a book, listening to a podcast while I'm getting breakfast. I need to set that structure up so I don't start my day either just racing into work or forgetting about myself and putting myself last. Putting that structure and that schedule of I need some me time in the morning before I start doing all the things for everybody else has supported me in my beingness and in actually being more effective and more productive. Let me know, drop, if you actually take the time to create the structure for a morning routine for you. And routine doesn't have to be same thing every day, but you can have focused me time every day. You can have focused movement time every day at the same time. Sometimes for me it's yoga, not often enough. I need to stretch. Sometimes it's dance. Sometimes it's going for a walk, right? Sometimes it's working out with weights, but I need to move my body at some point at the beginning of my day, or it might not happen, right? I love now knowing that time is carved out for me, because when I didn't intentionally set a system and structure into place, it just became a last priority. I didn't always fit it in. There wasn't always enough time. So let me know, what's your greatest opportunity in terms of creating a system or structure in your day to help you be able to be in your flow, to have that time back, and to make sure that you can show up as your best self. These are just 2 of the elements. Well, actually, no, I think I talked about 4 of the elements with the structures of earth, with the aligned action of fire, with the water and the air flowing thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be bringing a lot more of that forward and sharing how balancing all of the elements can really support us in being able to amplify our creativity, our essence, our freedom, our time, our prosperity, our abundance, the money we make in our business, the time we have in our life for our creative self-expression, to align with our soul purpose, all of that in a free Elemental Prosperity Masterclass next Friday. It begins at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to drop the link. I would love to have you there if you are feeling ready to have the different parts of you that sometimes can fight, right? The different desires to be in flow, but also be supported, all of that stuff. If you want to support those parts of you to bring it all into wholeness, almost like different gears in a clock, so that you can really start to amplify your ability to bring in abundance, prosperity, and step fully into this next level version of you. It's called Elemental Prosperity because we're going to be talking about it on the personal, we're going to be talking about it on the soul purpose level, and we're going to be talking about it in the professional spheres as well, especially if you're someone who feels like it's on your heart to be an entrepreneur, a coach, a healer, a workshop facilitator, or somebody who even has, brick and mortar stores. We need every element in balance in business as well as life so that we can show up in our full radiant expression. And there's always a next level too. So I'm co-hosting this with Gaia, the consciousness of the planet, and all of the elements we're going to be bringing through activations for you, as well as your own personal abundance and prosperity coding, knowing like which elements you get to focus on in what ways to support you in your being. And it's going to be magical. So like I said, I will drop that link in the comments here. If you've been watching live, thank you. Leslie's saying, creating time for movement and exercise. It can be a walk, but it's there for me. It's a game changer. Oh my gosh, such a game changer. I know for myself, it works best at the beginning of the day because otherwise it probably isn't going to happen. But other people have different rhythms, right? But it's beautiful to have that time just for you so you can show up at your best. I'd love to hear your ideas on the replay too, so drop them in the comments below and let me know what's working for you. And also if you've got any concerns, anything that's like making it difficult for you to show up like that, I'd love to hear so we can chat more about it. This was day 23 of the 365 Live Challenge. Thank you for being along on this journey with me. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you all tomorrow.